The Israeli government is defending themselves the same way Chris Watts defended himself against his wife murdering his kids.
Keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice, baked chicken with the skin on, yeah, Lowry's with black pepper, I'm fully seasoned with laughter.
What's good, understanders? It's your boy Dre, and welcome to my channel. Keep it 100, Dre. So the Israeli government bombed a building that contained the media companies of Al Jazeera, the Middle East Eye, and various other media organizations. So take a look at this video.
تسأل المسؤول ونقول له احنا يعني 10 دقائق ما حيصير شيء بين الساعة 3 والساعة 3 و10، العمارة مش حترجع تاني خلاص. يعني احنا بدنا 4 تنفار بس 4 وكلهم لابسين الدروع، مش حيروحوا يجيبوا أجهزة قتالية ولا حيجيبوا كاميراتهم وشغلهم، هذول كانوا في بث مباشر، يعني تو كلهم هاي نشوفهم تو رجعوا كانوا كلهم في المستشفى في مكان وين قتلوا ال10 انفار امبارح في المجزرة، هذول كلهم هيك الناس الجاية، ما في حدا منهم مخرب. إذا أعطينا 10 دقائق ساور المسؤول قول له يعني 10 دقائق ما حيصير شيء. يابا تفضل. لقيت يدخل العمارة ولا واحد، صاروا الناس. احنا محترمين رأيكم يا عمي، احنا ما بنقول لكم بدنا نيجي غصب عنكم. أعطينا 10 دقائق. لا اخوي ليش 10 دقائق لقيت؟ احنا صار لنا ساعة نفد الناس، بدناش انه الناس يرجعوا للعمارة للبرج، خطر من شانهم، مش من شاني، هذا حياتهم مش حياتي. بقول احنا الا نتجادل معك الا 10 دقائق، لو في ال10 دقائق سمحت لنا نروح، كان راحوا جابوا الاجهزة تاعتهم ورجعوا. يعني احنا مش باكين على الجهاز، خلاص انت بدك سويه احنا يعني تعب عمرنا كله راح، باتنا ذكرياتنا حياتنا ضيعتوها، بدك تتكلم لي الوقت على كاميرا، ما بدي احكي على كاميرا، خلاص ما بدي اللي بدك اسويه، انا حسكر واعمل اللي بدك اياه، في رب كبير. تفضل يا ابا صل على النبي. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. لقيت في ناس بالبرج ولا لا؟ لا ما في ناس، لا ما في ناس. لا ما في ناس لا.
في عملية مسح ورصد يجري في هذه الآن غارات متتالية تزلزل المكان. من جديد انهار البرج.
So as we can see here, this man was begging for just 10 minutes to allow them to get the equipment out the building before bombing the building. And they completely refused to allow them to even do that. So the reason the Israeli government bombed that building is because they don't want those media organizations to be able to report on the atrocities going on there. And Joe Biden claimed the Israeli government bombing the media buildings is defending themselves.
My national security staff and defense staff has been in constant contact with their counterparts in the Middle East, not just with the Israelis, but also with everyone from the Egyptians to the Saudis to the Emiratis, etc. And I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu not too long ago. I'll be putting out a statement very shortly on that. My expectation and hope is that this will be closing down sooner than later. But Israel has a right to defend itself when you have thousands of rockets flying into your territory. But I had a conversation for a while with the Prime Minister of Israel, and I think that my hope is that we'll see this coming to conclusion sooner than later. Thank you.
The Israeli government is defending themselves the same way Chris Watts defended himself against his wife murdering his kids. If y'all know who Chris Watts is, y'all need to do a little research to get the analogy. Israel is currently occupying Palestinian land, evicting them, bombing them, and killing innocent civilians. Yet Joe Biden claims Israel is defending themselves. So here's a chart of the total number of Israelis versus the total number of Palestinians killed from 2000 to 2014. The yellow represents the Palestinians being killed, that were killed, while the gray represents Israelis that were killed. In that time period from 2000 to 2014, 8,166 total people were killed in the conflict. 7,065 of those people were Palestinians, while 1,101 were Israelis. So here's a more recent chart. From 2008 to 2020, 5,600 Palestinians were killed in the conflict, while 115,000 were injured, compared to just 250 Israelis that were killed and 5,600 injured. And just look at how bad 2018 was. As for this year, the only figures I'm able to find is over 145 Palestinians were killed in the most recent airstrike, while just one Israeli was killed. And of the Palestinians killed, that included at least 41 children so far. This is why I was so critical of AOC on her comments on the Israel Palestine conflict. Her saying complete foolishness.
I think that when we talk about establishing peace, centering people's humanities, protecting people's rights, it's not just about the what and the end goal, which often gets a lot of focus. But I actually think it's much more about the how and the way that we are coming together and how we interpret that what and how we act in the actions that we take to get to that what.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
This is why. She no longer wanted to call it what it is. It's a genocide and apartheid state in the world's largest open-air prison. Also, take a look at the increase in illegal settlements in the West Bank over the last 4 decades. Meanwhile, the Justice Democrats, they say Joe Biden is much better than we thought, despite him aiding the Israeli genocide of the Palestinians.
One thing that I will say is that I do think that the Biden administration and President Biden has definitely exceeded expectations that progressives had.
One of your fellow progressives in the House, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, says that he's exceeded her expectations and expectations for progressives. Do you agree?
I do. I think that this has been a really interesting time for us to see how the progressive movement at large, all the progressive voters, young voters, voters of color that came out and turned out for the president in November, helping us to win the White House, the Senate, and the House, and the pandemic and the way in which it has just really shined such a bright light on all the inequalities that have existed. I think President Biden has risen to the moment, and I really do give him an A in what he's done so far.
Foolishness.
Foolishness. Foolishness.
Foolishness.
Foolishness.
So that's all I gotta say for this video. If you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications so you know when I post videos in the future. But I gotta leave you with one more thing before the video is over, and that's the word of the day. The word of the day for today is atrocity. Atrocity is spelled A-T-R-O-C-I-T-Y. The definition of atrocity is an extremely wicked or cruel act, typically one including physical violence or injury. So now I will attempt to use atrocity in a sentence. Israel is committing various atrocities against the Palestinian people, and we must continue to call out these politicians that are in support of a genocide. Hopefully I use that in a sentence correctly. So again, if you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications so you know I post videos in the future, and use atrocity in the comment section below in a sentence so I know you watched the video to the end. Again, I really appreciate you watching the video. I'm gonna send this. Peace.
Well, I've been stacking up. Nah, really that ain't accurate, cause I just spent my whole damn advance in the past couple months just to compensate for times we ain't have enough. Ooh.